Hello, my name is Matthias Cavodi. I'd like to welcome guys to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Gerry Duggan's run on the Deadpool series. He did a really good job. Took a lot of risks with this character, built up the Deadpool mythos. Some things paid off, other things fell flat on their face. But I found it mostly to be pretty enjoyable. We're going to cover Deadpool issues 6 through 13. So we have a very small sample. I'm going to try to cover most of this run in general. It came out in 2016. And without further ado, I'm going to get into the stuff I liked and what I didn't like about these issues. Tell you guys if they're worthwhile to go out and read them. We have Deadpool going up against Sabretooth and also having to deal with Typhoid Mary. So we have two pretty solid story arcs within these issues. And without further ado, the first issue, issue number 6, is one of that particular story arc. I don't like the whole story arc with Deadpool 2099. At least I didn't find it to be too interesting. It opens up like a few questions of how the hell Deadpool got to that point, his whole situation with his daughters, what happened to him and Shikla. But outside of that, I didn't find it to be too interesting. So let's skip into the next really big story arc, which starts in issue number 7. Deadpool starts off with Deadpool hanging out and doing merc jobs with the mercs for money. I really love this team. These are really obscure characters, and I got a blast out of seeing them work with Deadpool and his whole relationship. It was really cool. So the basic premise of the story is that Deadpool's memory is pretty fucked up. He can't remember stuff. This tends to be a big problem with characters that are related with Weapon X. They've been brainwashed many times. Wade has had his head blown off quite a few times, so I guess you're going to have issues remembering things. So you go through a normal day or a week of Deadpool where repeats a lot of stuff many times, or he forgets about stuff, and that just adds a lot of problems to his life. Also adds to some troubles with his wife Shikla, character that I love. I thought she was so well written. The relationship was, I really had a blast with. So he has like this little booklet, so he jots down his things he has to remember, and especially made people pay people that done terrible things to him. So he writes down little notes so he can make sure he'll remember to kill those guys or make them pay or make them miserable or stuff like that. So you get into all types of Deadpool antics. But what happens at the end of this particular issue is that Deadpool sees a little note which makes Deadpool totally hell-bent on taking down Sabretooth once and for all. So one would ask why. Basically, Deadpool thinks that Sabretooth is the one responsible for the death of his parents. So Deadpool goes out into the world, hunts Sabretooth down, and the battle that ensues between both of these characters and the way that Deadpool tries to make things miserable for Sabretooth is totally hilarious. And we're also dealing with a Sabretooth that's more in a hero mode. This happened after Axis, so Sabretooth got like this weird shift from being a villain into being a hero after that particular crossover. So he's sort of a villain because I think Wolverine died during this time, so he became a villain for Wolverine during this particular time of the Marvel Universe. So Deadpool goes out on his mission. We get this really epic battle between both of these characters because obviously both of them have healing factors. So taking each other down permanently is going to be a really big issue. What we discover and what really went down is that there was this scientist guy that really messed around with Deadpool's head. His name is Butler. To make sure that Deadpool's mental conditioning into a super hardcore assassin was complete, put Sabretooth on a mission where Wade had to go to his parents' house and kill his family. So Sabretooth wasn't the one that killed Deadpool's parents. Deadpool was. But Sabretooth, sort of in a weird and honorable way, is willing to take the blame. So Deadpool can just get over this part of his life and that particularly terrible thing, because it wasn't Deadpool's fault in the first place. He was manipulated. He was brainwashed into killing his own family. So we see Sabretooth in a weird way trying to be super honorable. Sort of funny, we get a round 2 battle between Deadpool and Sabretooth. And so they're causing all kinds of chaos on the highway, blowing up trucks, helicopters, the whole 9 yards. But the funny thing is that both of them are heroes, so they sort of have to stop the fight to save people that they put in danger and save their lives. So that was a really fun and interesting detail that they put into the story. But Deadpool blindsides, like, Sabretooth's like, hey, put our past behind us. Let's get on with our lives. We want to be heroes, both of us. Deadpool blindsides Sabretooth and decides to deactivate his powers using Tears and Mist, Inhuman Tears and Mist. A total dick move by Wade. So what happens is one of Wade's associates, his name is Scott Adsit, uses magic to get into Sabretooth's mind and tells Deadpool, like, you're making a mistake. Tooth didn't kill your parents. You did. You're the one that fucked up there. So he's trying to convince Deadpool, but Deadpool doesn't want none of it. But Magneto arrives just on time because Sabretooth had a job with Magneto. And Magneto's like really pissed he didn't go out and go on a mission with him. He arrives, brutally takes down Wade, and they're able to talk things over. They've decided not to kill each other. Deadpool realizes that this whole situation wasn't Sabretooth's fault. They become best buds, and we get the pretty interesting and mature way they've actually ended the story, even though we got all those Deadpool antics there. So after that, we get another Deadpool 2099 story. And like the only thing interesting about this particular story is that we discover that Deadpool has 2 daughters. You have Ellie and probably a daughter that Deadpool had with Cicla, and both daughters really hate each other. So I want to skip into the other story arc where we have Deadpool having to deal with Typhoid Mary. One thing that, like, they changed the artist in almost every issue of the series. That's something that really bothered me. Except for actually the Sabretooth issues were all the same artists. But in this particular story arc, it's 4 issues long, or 3, and each issue has a different artist. So that really, really bothers me when that happens. And sort of, at least for me, it just sort of takes me out of the story sometimes. So we have this accountant that was like helping criminal organizations hide their money and stuff like that. Money laundering. Sorry, the word that wasn't coming out. But he decided to invest that money, and it all got lost. So we have a couple of crime families out to kill this guy. We have Typhoid Mary representing one of those crime families. So this guy is on the run. He goes to Deadpool for help. And this is actually a pretty fun story, even though like one of the issues they go too overboard with the Deadpool humor and Deadpool insanity in general. Like, we could have done without that particular issue. But Deadpool at first doesn't want to help this guy, but when he discovers Typhoid Mary is one of the people that wants to kill him. Wade has history with Typhoid, especially during way back in the day in the first Deadpool series. There's a really good Deadpool story arc with Typhoid. So Wade decides to help this guy. This accountant gives Deadpool a computer. It's like, here's all the information. This is what these guys are after. We can incriminate all these criminal families. And so he has this safe, and the computer doesn't enter the safe. So it's really funny. It's like, from this, everything depends this guy's life on, and Deadpool like throws it in the trash because it doesn't fit. So what happens in this story? Deadpool goes to Typhoid and say, hey, let's try to talk things out. At first, obviously, things go south. So Deadpool decides to go with Matt Murdock, who is actually now the assistant of actually he's a prosecutor. I don't know the names because this is in Spanish. I don't know the legal names in English. But the thing is, he's working with the government, part of the justice system, and with this information, he can bring a case against all these crime families and take them down. So what happens is that Daredevil just teams up with Deadpool to go find that laptop and take all these crime families down. And like in this particular issue, the Deadpool antics and craziness, Duggan just goes a little bit overboard. And so there's not much going on in this particular issue, except they find that he threw away the computer and they can't find it. So it's mostly filler of Deadpool doing crazy shit. And sometimes like Duggan does overindulge in this type of things. And that does bother me a little bit. Every once in a while, it does hurt stories. But what happens after this is that Deadpool decides to contract two heroes for hire, Luke Cage and Iron Fist, instead of contracting the mercs for money. That was hilarious. He contracts two super legit heroes to go into where they throw all the garbage, the landfills. I can't remember that word, and find the computer. So Luke Cage and Iron Fist are really pissed off that they have to deal with garbage and that these kinds of jobs are below them. So, and like, Iron Fist really loathes and hates Deadpool. Like, everything Wade does just really makes Iron Fist lose his cool. So, what happens, and what I think is interesting about the story, they're able to find the laptop, they're able to take down these crime families. There's a really awesome moment with Iron Fist destroying a limo full of gangsters and stuff like that. That's really awesome. But actually, Deadpool took this job because he has feelings for Typhoid Mary. Her mental issues are something that Wade can feel empathy for. He feels sorry for her. He knows she's sick and that a lot of stuff she can't deal with. So he actually took this job to able to capture her, take her in, and take her to a mental facility to help her get the help that she needs. And so we see that aspect of Deadpool, that the guy has a lot of heart, and he, at the end of the day, he just really wants to help people. And in this case, Typhoid Mary, that he had fell in love with her a while back. So I'm gonna leave this here. Hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time. Bye.